Yeah. So that was tough. I was away from my spouse. I was away from my daughter. I joke about it as my husband tried to get rid of me.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Nacho Kids Podcast, where we discuss all things step family related. Real stories, real people, real help. Your hosts are the creators of the Nacho Kids Method and the Nacho Kids Academy Step Family Coaching Team, Lori and David Sims.
Welcome to episode 205 of the Nacho Kids Podcast.
What's up, y'all?
What's up? What's up? All right.
I got a thing to say.
Okay.
Before we get started.
Okay.
Because it has come to my attention that some folks, especially the new listeners, do not understand our banter.
What?
And I want to put this out there for those of you who don't understand that a lot of our quote unquote arguments on the podcast are for your entertainment purposes.
Well, but that's how we are with each other anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun bantering, arguing thing.
Yeah, because somebody left a bad review on the podcast because of a conversation we had about Jackson.
Yeah. If it's the first time you've listened, you may not understand it. So I can see where somebody's listening in the first few minutes and they're like, dude, these guys are crazy. So yeah, just want to say that. It's okay.
Yeah, because it had something to do with that press that you bought, and Jackson said it never worked for him, and you were saying he broke it, and I guess the person got upset about that.
Yeah, that I wouldn't even listen to his side of the story. But no, I didn't get upset about it at all. No. And I did listen to his side of the story.
They got more upset about it than you did.
I know. I was like, I don't care. And if I have an opportunity to rag him about something, I'm going to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we show love.
That's how we show love in this family.
So May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes. And I actually wrote a blog about mental health.
And one of the things that needs to be talked about is not just mental health, but mental wellness, which is same thing, health and wellness.
And my mental wellness was not good pre-Nacho.
Most people don't realize that anxiety and stress is one of the key things for mental health and wellness. And so if you're not doing something that is lowering your anxiety and stress, you're not taking care of your mental health.
Exactly. So I'm going to take care of my mental health and get off here. I'm kidding. So yes, we need to talk more about mental health in step families.
Mm-hmm. That's a big piece of what we do with the Nacho Kids Method, as well as inside the Nacho Kids Academy.
Mm-hmm. It's about your mental health, people.
Mm-hmm.
And in case you did not know, being thankful improves your mental health.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Gratitude. Gratitude is one of them.
Yes. So be thankful. Be grateful. If things have gone to crap, find something good.
You want me to go over some mental health tips? I already got them right here.
Sure, David. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Practice mindfulness. So incorporating mindfulness techniques such as meditation, deep breathing. Yeah. How many times have we done that? It's like, take a breath. Simply being present in the moment can help you reduce your stress and increase your self-awareness. Number 2.
Hey, wait a minute. Being present in the moment means you're not worried about the crap that happened in the past and you're not trying to predict what's going to happen in the future. It is dealing with now.
That's right.
Yes. Go ahead.
Number 2.
Exercise. That was number 2.
No. Exercise regularly.
All right, next.
Everybody knows that physical activity, it boosts your mood, reduces stress, and, creates all these different things in your body that pumps out all these feel-good stuff. Number 3, get adequate sleep. So,
okay, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, so establishing regular sleep schedules, creating a relaxing bedtime routine, and you should aim for between 7 and 9 hours of sleep per night, which does not count your napping.
Okay, but that's uninterrupted sleep. And you interrupt my sleep.
I don't interrupt your sleep. The dogs do.
No, the dogs don't snore.
No, but they get you up at 5:30 in the morning.
That's because little baby Veda wanted some attention. All you hear is
All right.
chirp. Chirp.
Yeah, she chirps.
You would think is a bird in the house.
All right, number 4, connect with others. And I think this is where the pandemic just made everybody go crazy.
Well, I have to tell y'all. So I go get my hair cut every 6 months. And there's a girl that has cut my hair for years. I will not let anybody else cut my hair. And when she dies, I'm screwed. But anyway.
You'll have long hair.
Yeah. She's a friend of mine. And I went to go see her recently. And we spent, 3 hours together or so. She cut my hair and then she needed to go to Walgreens. So we went to Walgreens. And I had so much fun. And I left and I'm thinking, what's changed? Because that wouldn't have been like exciting before. But what it is was I was away from the house. I didn't have to deal with the responsibilities of the house, including the dogs. I was hanging out with a friend. We were laughing and did not have a care in the world.
Why don't you do it more often?
I need to do it more often.
Yes, you do.
I do. But that doesn't mean I'm going to cut my hair more often.
No, don't do that.
So I need to try to go see her like at least once every 3 months instead of every 6 months. But it was good. It was good to get out of the house and spend some time with her. And again, it wasn't very long. It's not like we spent the weekend together. You've got to continue these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually talked to my ex-sister-in-law today. I had posted that she got her bachelor's degree, and I'm like, what? So I messaged her, and she's like, yeah, girl. And I'm like, well, call me. So she called me, and we talked 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
And we talked about everything from her kids to mine and David's kids to the grandkids to her mama and all that stuff. And her daughter, which I just love dearly. I always have. And it was good to have that conversation. And for us, I don't go anywhere. The chiropractor is my friend.
He cracks me up.
He literally cracks me up too, though. I mean, he's hilarious. But we've lost a lot of these relationships that we had pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of a homebody anyway, but COVID just gave me an excuse where people wouldn't say, you never go anywhere. But that doesn't stop from using the phone. So pick up the phone, call the friend you haven't talked to in a while. Go see the friend that lives in the same town you do that you haven't seen for a while. Go get coffee. Go get a donut. Go to Target.
Get a coffee and a donut.
Yeah, go get coffee and a donut. But remember that you need those relationships, and not necessarily to complain about your partner or your kids too, but just to have that emotional connection to somebody else.
Yep.
All right, David, go ahead with your numbers. I'm sorry.
All right, number 5, manage stress. So you should develop healthy coping mechanisms for stress. Hello, Nacho Kids.
NachoKidsAcademy.com.
Also, finding some hobbies to engage in.
Paint your granny ceramics.
Number 6, set realistic goals. And this was interesting. Break larger tasks into smaller, manageable steps and celebrate your achievements along the way so that you don't make your normal goals stressful.
Right. So my office is a complete and utter mess. So instead of being overwhelmed by the complete and utter mess, just say, okay, day 1, I'm going to focus on reorganizing my bookshelf. That's it.
Yep.
Day 2, I'm going to pick this pile of papers up off the floor and go burn them.
All right. So let me fly through the rest of these.
Why? Because I'm talking too much? Go ahead.
No, because we're going over. So number 7, eat a balanced diet. Number
Skip
8,
that one.
Number 8, limit alcohol and caffeine. Number 9, practice gratitude. Number 10, seek professional help when it's needed. Number 11, learn to say no. And that's talking about setting boundaries. Number 12, engage in hobbies and activities you enjoy.
Well, is that not the same as finding a hobby?
Well, but that was part of the other thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Finding a hobby was part of the other one, not the other one. I know. Number 13, practice self-compassion. Yeah, that's right. Be nice to yourself.
Yeah, we're horrible to ourselves.
Yep. You should treat yourself like somebody that you are in charge of their well-being.
No, I disagree. I think you should treat yourself like somebody you love.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Same thing. All right.
Not the same thing.
Number 14, maintain a healthy work-life balance. Now, that's extremely difficult to do. But it doesn't mean that the work-life balance has to be 50-50. It just has to be healthy. So you might work your little booty off, but you have to do it in a way that's healthy for you and for your relationships. And that looks different for everybody.
Everybody.
And number 15, last one, stay organized.
Oh, that's my gosh.
Keeping track of your tasks, responsibilities, and your to-do list, calendars, and all that stuff will help keep your stress down and help you maintain focus.
But what if that list stresses me out?
Then maybe you need to join the academy.
Maybe I do, because the exercise one, the eating healthy.
It's 10 tips. It doesn't mean you have to do all 15.
You came 15. What are you doing? You said 10 then 15 and.
You're not supposed to be paying attention.
You combine two lists.
Because I'm an overachiever. No, I had a list of 15. I don't think I said anything about top 10.
You just said
I said list of tips.
Okay.
I said you don't have to do all of them. You just have to do some of them, as many as you can.
Okay.
Did you see how I was able to answer you in a very low, non-stressful tone?
Yeah, because you don't deal with the dogs all day.
Who let the dogs out?
Our guest today is stepmom Emily. Emily was a stepkid herself. She has a stepdaughter that is 16 and a bio daughter that is 14. Hardest part of blending for her has been mini-wife syndrome and parental alienation. Best advice? Find a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Join the Nacho Kids Academy. Have to add a disclaimer that there is mention of sexual abuse in this podcast.
Well, let's listen to Emily then.
Today we have stepmom Emily. Hey, Emily, how are you?
Hi, Lori. I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. So you're a stepmom, of course.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been a stepmom?
Well, I have been a stepmom for 8 years.
And how many stepkids?
I have one stepdaughter. She is 16, turning 25. And I have a bio daughter. She's 14. We are actually a blended family of 4. We're living in Alberta, but we're very multicultural. My spouse is from the US, and they come from a long line of Italian family. Mm-hmm. I'm from Asia, and my daughter is Asian American. My stepdaughter is Canadian American. So we're a big ball of mess, I guess.
Hey, that sounds like us. I've got a stepdaughter-in-law that's, I say Filipinese. And she's Filipino, and then, or is it Filipina? Anyway. And then one of the stepkids' girlfriends is half Jamaican.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We are so unique. I think if you look at us, we could pass for a family that could model for United Colors of Benetton, because my stepdaughter has blonde hair, blue eyes. My daughter she's Black Asian, so she's got curly hair, and I'm Asian, but I don't look very Asian. Mm-hmm. I kind of the weird one. The weird And then my spouse is a really tall Italian guy. So apparently in Europe, a lot of Italians are not very tall. So we're kind of weird. Anyway.
Really?
So, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I have a friend from Norway. She told me, how come your husband is tall for an Italian? I said, I don't know. I'm going to ask his ancestors though. But
yeah, maybe they stretched him when he was little.
There's something about the food in America that make people really tall, I guess. Something with the water. I don't know.
Yep.
Oh, I'm also a stepdaughter, Lori. I forgot to mention. So I have been a stepdaughter for at least 20 years. I think roughly 25 years. There's a big question mark there because we're not entirely sure when my dad's affair started with my stepmom. But according to their Facebook post, which I saw last year, 28 years they've been together. So that was exactly when he walked out of our lives. And about 5 years later, he resurfaced with his quote unquote new wife, who he had an affair with and left us for when I was 15. And then a year after that, my mom also repartnered. And funny enough, both of them got married outside my country. And I don't know how that was possible, but they said they got married outside. And because their marriage wasn't dissolved, right? So on paper, they're still married. So that's kind of tough because when I was 15, my dad asked me, I'm a daddy's girl, right? I still say I'm a daddy's girl because I'm still a daddy's girl.
Mm-hmm.
So when he resurfaced when I was 15, that was also, it was a fun and scary moment for me because he asked me to move in with them. And it was weird because I have two brothers. I mean, that's messed up. You're asking me to move in with you guys and you're going to leave I'm not going to leave my brothers. I don't want to be Cinderella. Okay. She has 3 daughters. I don't want to be Cinderella. But I didn't tell my dad that because I love him. And, it was a while before I saw him again. And back then, my mom was working overseas, trying to provide for 3 children. And so when she called, because she found out my dad came to town to see me. So I told her, I said, Papa's asking me to move in. And his new wife, to quote my word exactly, mistress, asked me to call her mommy. So you can just imagine that was so incredibly traumatic for me because my mom wailed like somebody died. So that is forever, I think, indelibly burned into my brain. So anyway, so I'm sharing you these things because I think a lot of my past growing up as a stepchild has affected my journey as a stepmom. And I would be remiss to not acknowledge that these events does play a big part on my journey.
Do you feel like you thought the blend would be easier?
My current blend with my stepdaughter as a stepmom, you mean?
Yes, because you were a stepkid yourself.
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't think I did. I just came in thinking that I would put in 100% to making this family better than what I had. So, but I didn't thought it was going to be easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You knew better than to think that.
I think so. Yeah. I think I had some level of maturity that other people my age don't have because, sorry, I'm going to segue a little bit just to give you a bit of a background about myself. I was sexually assaulted as a kid by an uncle and my brother. So try not to make me cry, Laurie.
I'm not saying anything.
So, so it's hard for me to trust. Before I met you guys, I was always waiting for the shoe to drop. So I really didn't came in thinking that this is going to be easy.
Right.
I really thought that it was going to be quite hard, but I was determined. I wanted us to work. I found the love of my life and I said to myself, I'm going to do everything I can, but I was just so ignorant anyway. More of that later.
And he's older than you, right?
Yeah, we have 20 years age difference. But, I'm getting better at this. I mean, my daughter's dad, him and I had a 23-year age gap. And I think I upgraded a bit. So
You're doing better. You're doing better.
I'm getting there. I'm kind of a slow learner sometimes. Yeah, but oh my God. Yeah, I'm just grateful I found this man. His story is his dad passed away when he was 14. Dad had cancer when he was 13, right? So he became the breadwinner of the family. He was the eldest, and he had two other sisters that he raised and sent to college. When I met him, the setup was his mom was 100% fully dependent on him financially. And that was kind of weird, but I understood because she's invalid. She's wheelchair bound. And but his mother loved me from the very first day she met me. And she has been such a rock. And, she grew up an only child, but she knew some cultural, when I'm having a tough time, she's the first person I would call when she was alive. And she would explain to me that, hey, you got to really, really step back because this is their problem. This is between them. And, I have a tough time understanding that because this was before I met you guys, before I joined the academy. And there was definitely financial abuse there going on when I met him. And that was really tough. That was tough.
Yeah, it's tough. I see some things with my dad helping my niece and my sister that, they're abusing him.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah. Because it's, that's family. And when you're talking to an Italian about family is everything. So I wasn't asking him to abandon his mom financially. I was just asking why his sisters aren't helping out. And towards the end, before his mom passed away, he started asking his sisters to help out because we were financially not as we were used to be. So as we had a 3-year court battle going on I had to, something happened with my daughter that I had to ask the court to give me sole guardianship. And unfortunately, that took about 3 years and a big chunk of money from our pockets.
Yeah.
And that's that.
But you finally got full custody of your daughter.
Thank God. My ex, unbeknownst to me, wanted to have a polyamorous kind of relationship. And when I found out I was already pregnant, that was a surprise. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to have a polyamorous relationship. I'm not into being a sister wife. No, thank you. No, thanks. No. And so when we broke up, he was mad and he decided that he's going to suspend all kind of support for his daughter until after I changed my mind and go back to him. And I have all the communication between him and I submitted that to the court. And it did took 3 years, but the court granted me sole guardianship of my daughter.
Why did it take so long, or do you even know?
Right. So the first year it went to finding him, to serve him. Since he was living overseas, the going back and forth with the embassies, trying to find him, the last known address that we have of him, that took 1 year. And then so when they couldn't serve him, we had to do a summons by publication wherein we try and serve him through papers, which is a national known paper, right? Any national paper. So, and that would take a year. We have to publish this thing for a whole year. And so when that was done, boom, COVID hit, right? So everything was paused. And it was really tough because I was also stuck in the US for less than 100 days because we made a terrible mistake of crossing the border to buy some stuff to stock up because we had a feeling that they'll close the border. But we thought it would be like next week. We didn't realize that the prime minister's wife got sick over the weekend, and Monday the prime minister just decided to close the border. And he announced it 10:30 in the morning, I think, when it hit the airwaves. And we literally crossed the border about 10:28. And so we crossed the border. The people at the US side they were really upset with my husband because they said, "Why did you take her?" Because I didn't have a Canadian citizenship. He's American, he could come back. But I'm not a Canadian citizen. So anyway, so I got stuck there and we had to wait for the borders to reopen before I could have come back.
But you live there. They knew you lived there, right?
Yes, we have an address here, but when they crossed the border, the prime minister said anybody who's not Canadian and not American cannot come back to the US. I mean, Canada cannot enter Canada.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was tough. I was away from my spouse. I was away from my daughter. You know, I joke about it as my husband tried to get rid of me.
Yeah. He could have. That was the perfect opportunity.
But anyway, so he had to come back because he's got a business here and he's everything that is ours, our bank account, our home, everything. I literally crossed the border with nothing but my phone and the clothes on my back. So that was strange. And then the hotels were weird because it was like empty. There wasn't a lot of travelers because of COVID. Geez, what a time. I don't want to ever go back to that.
Yeah. Oh, I can't blame you because you didn't have a car or anything.
Yeah, nothing. And then he had to come back. He was a mess because he's kind of dependent on me because he doesn't have a secretary. And then I'm his secretary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. It's hard for him, you know, being away from his wife. Because, you know, we split our time between here and Asia. So we can be with the other daughter and then here on some days of the year. I mean, some months of the year. So at the most, I would be away from my daughter for half a year. And that year I was out the whole time and I couldn't come back. And that was just devastating. Yeah. This relationship has been tested by fire and I couldn't believe how hard it has been. But we're still together. Oh my God.
So what was it like when you met his daughter for the first time?
Oh my God. So the first time I met her was through FaceTime. She was 6 years old, but I met her personally when she was 8. And before I met her, I already know I love her. Okay. Because oh my God, she looks like her dad. They're like two peas in a pod.
Mm-hmm.
And I see, you know, the way she is sometimes is like her dad, just adorable. And so they met me at the airport. They picked me up. She came with a big sign with my name and a big bouquet of flowers. And she gave me a big hug. I love her so much. She gave me a big hug. Makes me teary just thinking about it. And I was so happy. I was so happy that day. But even though I love her, you know, I still struggled. I struggled because I wasn't ready to meet the side of her that is very much a resemblance of her mom.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
But over the years, I have come to accept her as who she is. And I realized that it's not my job to change her. You know, it's my job to love her and be there as her dad's wife and to show her how a stable and healthy relationship looks like. So she can, when she gets her chance, see what a healthy relationship is and find a healthy man or a woman, whatever she wants to do, to be her lifetime partner.
Yeah.
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 But she's really excited to have a boyfriend.
Is she?
She's boy crazy. So what I do is I would share with her my struggles with my daughter. Like every day I have to take my daughter to school now for 5 times a week. I lose about 4 hours a day of my precious time just to take my daughter to school and pick her up again in the afternoon. So I told her, I said, watch and learn. This is called birth control.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's not easy, honey. I'm telling you now, this is birth control. I'm educating you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of your time when you have a child is not yours anymore.
Yes. Very little of your time is yours anymore.
Yeah.
So when you met her, things were good. You automatically loved her.
Yeah.
When you moved in, did you move in right after you met her?
Okay. So here's what's funny. When I moved in, it was exactly their move out day from their old home.
Okay.
So when I came in, everything was packed in a box, right? And then the next day when we woke up, the truck is here, and then we had to move, right? So that was weird. That was a weird time. And so immediately I'm hit with this overwhelming amount of work, and it was just crazy.
Were they moving out of the home that he shared with his ex?
No.
Okay.
No. Let me put it this way. They were actually not together for a very long time. They were together at least 2 years. When she got pregnant, they got engaged and she called it off. And they tried again and it didn't work out. So yeah, they didn't really live together that much. So this place that he was living in wasn't theirs. It was his and his daughter's.
Ah, okay.
It's theirs. So there was a lot of change happening just, day one, it's already changing, right?
Right.
So not just for me, but also for my stepdaughter. So can you just imagine for an 8-year-old, it must be exciting, but also she probably felt so insecure and probably afraid that, she would be replaced because she knew I have a daughter. But for an 8-year-old, she probably doesn't really grasp the enormity of the changes that would happen in our lives.
Right. Because your daughter wasn't there in the beginning, right?
Oh, so she just joined us actually a year and 2 months ago. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because this whole thing. So the very thing that was holding everything up for my daughter was that she had an expired US passport.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a minor. So for you to apply for a passport for a minor, you must apply as if you're applying for a new passport. Okay, so you have to provide and sign the same documents that you have signed as if you're applying for a new one. That means her dad has to sign the same documents.
Oh, no.
Signed when we applied for her passport. So, and he just refused.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I begged him. It expired in 2013 and he just refused. Okay. So twice we tried to get married. So the first plan was to get my stepdaughter to come to Asia, but her mom refused to send her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because she said some bullshit reasons. She said, we're in, the country where I'm from is not part of the Hague Treaty,
Mm-hmm.
but they're Canadian. They're not part of the Hague Treaty as well. So they can't participate.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and then on top of that, she told my daughter how bad it is where I'm from. So if my spouse actually went to the court to get her to come to Asia to attend our wedding, and it has been granted, she would fight him through tooth and nail before she even gets to that plane. So obviously it would have caused so much trauma and it wouldn't do us good. Okay, so plan went to the bin. That's plan number one.
Mm-hmm.
Plan number two, we tried to do it again and we had plans. We actually booked a place already in Hawaii. Never happened. You know why? Because my ex just refused to sign those papers so that my daughter can renew her passport. Yeah. So we've been trying. We're really planning to get married this year, and we're trying to get the paperwork again to get married at church this year. But, my husband always says, In my mind, we're already married. He actually gave me an anniversary ring for Valentine's Day, and I gave him journal.
Oh,
I know it's my gift to him is so lame, and he gave me an anniversary ring. Oh my God, what a man!
Your gift is not lame.
Yeah, it's the 3-year journal between couples. Oh my God, that's so funny.
That's a good gift.
It is. It is a good gift.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Thank you.
So, what were your biggest struggles in the beginning?
Right. So in the beginning, okay, so there's obviously mini wife syndrome happening when I first came in, because she would always sit between us. Wherever we go, she would break our hands apart and squeeze her way in the middle so that she, hold her dad's hand. Or whenever we attend, I don't know, watch a movie, watch a play, she would sit in between us. And that just infuriated me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to understand, when I would come to Canada, sometimes I haven't, on some years, I haven't seen him for at least 3 months.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm excited to see him, and I could barely spend time with him alone. Funny enough is that Biomom, that's her greatest complaint, is when I'm in town, he barely has alone time with her. Right. Mm-hmm. So there is a mismatch there. But, my husband also insisted that we all do things together, because he said, she needs to get used to having you around. So I would be in every pickup and every drop off. I resented it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh. I also have to work. I work remotely. So it's not like I am just sitting on my bum and, doing nothing. I have work. And then I also want to catch up with my daughter. So sometimes I would call her, and the time is just reversed. Right.
Yeah.
So it's there, eating here. It's just, it was hard trying to balance time. And he wanted me to be everywhere. Anyway, so that was the toughest, because, I hated being in the car as well, because there are conversations between them that I really don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear about her mom. I don't want to, it's not my business to know about her mom's business. I don't really want to hear it. But, she would tell her dad what happened. And, being in the car, you don't have an escape, really.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, there was no noise canceling headphones just yet. So when I finally discovered that was heaven to me. So, but I, have since found my voice to say no to pickups and drop-offs, which has served them so well anyway, because they would have their alone time together.
Mm-hmm.
She even sees us. And then another hard part was the cultural differences. I came in, I was so naive. I had a friend told me, she said, I had another friend who's really strict with her stepdaughter because the bio mom was never around. She was always working. So I think you should be more strict with her like my other friend. So I thought it was a cultural thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was so dumb. And and then so another thing is, I told you she's 16, going on 25. So when she was 8, she was actually going on 16.
Right.
So she would wear makeup every day, and she would be dressed inappropriately, right? And I would ask him, why are you letting this kid go out like that? And I'm like, he would say to me, oh, that's how kids dress up here. Right. Mm-hmm. And then when she talks back, I ask him, why are you letting her talk to you like that? And then he'd say to me, oh, well, that's how kids are talking to their parents here. My mom would have smacked me if I ever talked to her like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because she would be in every conversation. She would be discussing our finances.
Really?
Yeah, with her dad. And I'd be like, excuse me, in my head. But, because I never really called her out for being so outspoken. But whenever we're alone, I would tell my husband, I said, and for years I have been telling him this, and the default for him is always to talk to her about everything and be open.
Mm-hmm.
But, I would remind him all the time that there are conversations that a husband and a wife should have just between them.
Right.
Okay. So when he would forget, here's what I would do. I would tell him, husband, pointing at him, and then I point to myself, wife, husband, wife, pointing back and forth until I say, because you forgot there for a bit, but I'm the wife, you're the husband. And these conversations should be within this circle and not leave outside the circle until our discussions have been finished. They discuss everything. They plan trips before it reached me. They planned my wedding. All right.
What?
Between them. Yeah. She said, I would pick Emily's this. I wanted to decide what makeup she's going to wear. Oh, and I'm going to be there for when she picks a champagne or a cake. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
That's how they raised her.
Yeah.
To be part of every conversation. And as I said, it's not my job to change her. And as long as it's not harming us, and I can just bring my husband back to reality and let him know that this discussion is between us. And I'm okay with that. I just need to just ground him for a minute there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do it when she's not around because I just keep my mouth shut. I not show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then GPS. When I met him, it was very clear that he was a Disney dad. His bio mom said so. And in fact, they went to Disney multiple times, not just her. He took, okay, listen to this. He took his ex sister-in-law, their son, and the husband, plus my stepdaughter, to Disneyland at least 5 times.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And not just that, they went to other places as well. They went to San Diego. They went to Vegas. Just them. And this has been going on pre-Emily. So it's tough. And I have had discussions about this with him because, I said to him, we need to save for our retirement, and, we don't even have an emergency fund. Oh, God. It's just different. The way he looks at money is if he has it, he can use it the way he wants it. Like he's still a single dad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's really tough, really tough. So he tried so much to buy her love for years. He's still doing it, but not as intense as it used to. But can you imagine how uncomfortable that made me feel? Because that's still her family.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're not together anymore. So Biome doesn't come, but that's still her family.
She might as well be there.
Anyway, so right now we can afford to do that. So thank God, because it would have driven me crazy. So sometimes he would not correct his child. So like just before he left for a business trip in Asia, he refused to tell her to pick up after herself because he didn't want to make their last day before he leaves as something so aggravating to stepdaughter.
Right.
To him, he said, that is him choosing his battles. Right. So he said that there are days that, yes, they mess up. You don't have to really correct them. Some days you just need to show them that you love them. And okay. And, actually he's gotten better about it since we joined the academy, because I would call him out on his GPS.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten better at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you have guilty parent syndrome?
Well, everybody has. And those who says that they don't have it are probably just as guilty as we are. I have guilty parent syndrome. I don't expect much from my daughter when it comes to chores, but I do expect a lot from my stepdaughter. But with chores around here, it's quite simple anyway. I do most of the work around here. But, we wanted to keep it easy because we don't want fights around the house. So I said, whatever's in your room, that's for you to take care of. You vacuum your own room, you wash your own clothes, you make your own bed, you wash your own sheets. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Your own toilet, and that's it. I don't expect you anything outside that except for dinner. After dinner, I expect help for, at least washing the dishes. And on some days, I give them a break. Like when it's really tough, it's a exam week, let's say exam week, and, girls don't want to be helping because they're just overwhelmed with school. So I take that out of their plate. Mm-hmm. So, and I think my stepdaughter appreciates that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Because in the other house, I think they make her take the trash out on trash days. So, and they make her clean her room for when they are renting out their house, because they Airbnb their house, because stepdad for the longest time hasn't had work.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been his source of income. They Airbnb their house and they pack and leave. So they make her clean her room on those days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's why I told my husband, I said, we don't just try our best not to ask too much from her, because she's got 2 rooms to clean. Right. She's got her mom's, she has to clean that room. And then she also has to clean her room here. So, you can just be a little considerate sometimes.
And what did he say about that?
He said, it's okay. And he said to me, I didn't thought of that, but you're right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she is getting to a point where she just dumps everything in there, and sometimes it smells. And when it smells, she cleans on her own. And that's it. We don't really have to tell her much anymore. She's able to take care of herself.
Well, at least she knows when it smells. A lot of kids don't.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So how did the stepdaughter and bio daughter get along when they first met? Because I'm sure that was something that you were concerned about, is how is stepdaughter going to be with my daughter?
Right. And these 2 kids couldn't be any more different. Oh my God. So my daughter is extremely introverted, and my stepdaughter is this ray of sunshine. She's just extroverted. Okay. So when they first met, it was awkward, to be honest, but over the year, the course of the year that they have been together, it's been pretty amazing to see them sit at the corner, eat together and chat together. And they have had one fight, which was so funny. I think this was a month ago or during Christmas, when my stepdaughter knocked at my daughter's room to just ask how she's doing. And my daughter, who's introverted, very soft-spoken, opened her door and said, "What?" What? Right?
What do you want?
And then even before my stepdaughter could say a thing, she shut the friggin' door on her face.
Oh my gosh.
And then she said that to me, and we just started laughing. I said, "Oh, you had your first fight. Oh, that's so adorable." But, I'll tell you, it's so funny because one time we were having lunch. I said to my stepdaughter, "So, stepdaughter, do you still want to move to New York for when you go to college, or do you want to go to somewhere else in the US?" She said, "Yeah, I think so." And then so I asked my daughter, I said, "How about you? What's your plan?" She said, "I'm going to move in with stepsister." And so when my stepdaughter heard that, she was tickled pink. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, and one time my spouse was being really upset with my stepdaughter. We were in the car. It was the holidays, so everybody was stressed. And he called her some name that basically translates to "you're being a brat," right? And my daughter came to my stepdaughter's rescue and said to my spouse, very soft but firm, kind but firm. She wasn't being rude. She said to my spouse, I think we should stop with the name calling. Just like that, with that tone. And it, it was just hilarious. My daughter is so protective of her stepsister. One time we were talking about stepdaughter in the car, and my daughter called us on it. And she said, we shouldn't be talking like that about my stepdaughter.
Oh.
And I think there's an incredible bond happening there. We thought it would be really hard because these are two kids that were their only children in both households, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever my stepdaughter comes here, all of a sudden my daughter becomes not the only child anymore. And my stepdaughter has an instant sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we thought that was going to be really hard for them. But they have formed a bond. Surprisingly enough, they have formed a bond that is still growing, and this is within a year. It's still quite new, but the bond that they have is quite strong already. So I'm really surprised.
That's good. And I wonder if the fact that they're different helps that, because if they were very similar, then they would be fighting over clothes maybe, or things like that. But with them being so different, there's less competition maybe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's true. And I think it plays well that she doesn't have to sort of like compete with my daughter when it comes to her dad.
Right.
Because my daughter is not really clingy with my spouse, and nor am I not clingy with him. So I think she just needed to know that her place in the family remains the same with or without us in the picture. She just needs to feel secured, I think.
Right. So how is the relationship between your husband and your daughter?
Oh my God. Couldn't be any lovelier. My spouse picks her up from school most days, and he's very respectful of her and extremely kind. And I couldn't ask for anything better.
Oh.
Yeah. I know. Pretty cool. I think she did say that her stepdad is her dad. Told the teachers that her dad is her dad. A stepdad is her dad.
Oh.
There's two parts to that. My daughter, she does call my spouse daddy and his name.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Daddy Eric. When we're at home, she calls him Daddy Eric.
Mm-hmm.
When she's at school, she doesn't call him that. She tells everyone that that's her dad or that's her daddy. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So with my stepdaughter, she calls her stepdad daddy and my husband dad.
Ah, okay.
Right? Because for the longest time, the setup over there is it's like they are not without past. Like that's the parent and she's the child and we're not even existent. That's the setup over there. There absolutely is parental alienation happening. And it was at the peak of it was before I showed up. And he would lose his time with her. They actually tried to cheat him with the child support. And he was so lucky that he had a good lawyer and they caught it very early on and they shut it down. So right now he's paying for the minimum and that's been great. And he's almost done anyway. She's turning 18, but I don't know. We have to check with a lawyer again if he has to stop paying child support, but he's going to pay for school anyway until she's done.
Yeah, I know in I'm talking United States, the court orders state until they're 18 or graduate high school. A lot of states are adding college in there.
Right.
My state is not one of those.
Mm.
But from my understanding, even if the court order says at 18, you don't have to pay child support, that you basically are supposed to go back to court to get a piece of paper saying that. I don't think many people go back to court for that purpose.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to go back to court to not pay child support anymore. Maybe that's if they're paying through the court system. I'm not sure, but yeah.
I think in this province, it says you're not supposed to just stop when they turn 18, because if the kid's still dependent on the parent, there's still going to be child support. That's why I told him, I said, you got to check first with a lawyer before you even stop, because I don't want you to be in contempt.
Right.
So, so speaking of child support, whenever he would lose time and he would ask for extra time, because he traveled a lot. Pre-pandemic, he traveled a lot for work, and he would lose time with her. Every time he comes back, he would beg for extra time, and she would always say, well, that's too bad you lost your time, right? Or she would say, well, you chose to leave, right? Like he's not leaving to provide for his daughter.
Right.
Like leaving to, go somewhere and gallivanting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the worst one that she repeatedly say whenever he asked for extra time was, we can always go back to court and we can modify the court order, and you are going to end up paying more. Right?
Oh, wow.
It's every time it's like that. And it was so hard to watch. And then there were even times when she wouldn't come because mom said something that wasn't true, and stepdaughter decided that she was gonna not be pleased with her dad and stay at home with her mom instead of coming here for her time with her dad. So that was really tough to watch. Definitely he had PTSD over that. And it's tough watching your spouse go through parental alienation, because you know that you can't take away the pain, but you very much want to take it away from them, because it hurts watching them be in pain, but you can't change it for them. You can't take away their pain, and you can only be there and wait for them to come to you, and maybe you can hug them and, let them know that they're not alone.
Yeah. That's all you can do.
Yep.
So things sound like they're going very well with you.
We're far from perfect. We're a work in progress. I think it helped a lot when we joined the academy, because he Nacho's my daughter and I Nacho his daughter. But having said that, we still do a lot for our stepkids. He picks up my daughter from school or takes her to school sometimes. I still do a lot for my stepdaughter as well. I spend my own money on her and do a lot for her. It's crazy. It's crazy. Sometimes she would ask me to go with her shopping for her dad, or just spend a day with her to go to the salon, which I don't really like, but I love spending time with her because I don't really like sitting around. I have so much to do, but it's pretty cool. So this kid, she may have been parentified. You have to understand, I love her so much, but she told her dad, she said, if you ever cheat on Emily, I would never, ever, ever forgive you. But she also told her dad this. Okay, remember this. She also told her dad this. If you take my mom to court, I would never, ever, ever talk to you again.
Oh,
I know. So this kid has, you see, it's like black and white. It's just extremes every time. So this kid absolutely has anxiety.
Yeah.
In fact, the last time her dad left for the last business trip he's right now overseas. She cried the whole time we were in the car.
Oh,
Extreme separation anxiety, and it breaks my heart to watch her like that, because I know that this didn't happen because of her own accord.
Right.
This happened because of some damage, emotional damage, mental damage that was done by her mother.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, no matter what we do, we can't change, and we can't change or we can't stop the other household from doing what they're doing.
Right.
Unless, of course, there is obvious signs of abuse, right? And obvious signs of putting the kid in danger, right? So, but if it's not obvious like this, it's really tough to go to court and make real change happen.
Right.
You know what I'm right?
Yeah.
Right. So,
does she get to have contact with her dad when he's out of town?
He calls her every day. Because he, since that's one thing that I admire about him, he never stopped trying. That even though she sometimes refused to take his call because he's not very pleased with her, he keeps trying. He never, ever tried to sever that connection between them, even if he's really hurt.
Right. Well, what's one piece of advice that you would give someone that is getting ready to get into a blend?
Right. I'm sure somebody needs to hear this today. Don't share a bathroom with your spouse. It's a romance killer. And just kidding.
No, that's the truth, though.
That's one less thing for you to fight about.
Yeah. Like, oh, I think you're sexy sitting on that toilet.
That way he can clean his toilet and you can clean your toilet and you don't have to see all the dirty works, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but, kidding aside, really, it's, you got to let go. There are some things you can let go. Just don't sweat the small stuff. Mm-hmm. Don't. Last night we were having this conversation during the Q&A call, and some people would offer advice from well-meaning friends, quote unquote, but try and not listen to that and find yourself a mentor, somebody who can show you the way to making it work, because that's your shortcut to making it work. They have made it work. They have been surviving and thriving the blend. And I'm just lucky I found Lori and David. I thank God, whoever tagged me to join the group on Facebook is my angel. And if she's listening to this, thank you very much.
Oh,
God bless you and your family.
We need to find out who that is.
I have no idea. I just have no idea. I joined so many step family or stepmom.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be hard to find out who that is. Jeez.
Yeah.
Louise. Really, I'm forever grateful, because if she hasn't tagged me, I wouldn't have known. And for us, what really worked is my spouse always finds a way to connect with my stepdaughter.
Mm-hmm.
When she felt that she is secured in this family, that's when she started opening up. At first, when they come, they're always excited to see their parents, right? They're not really excited to see the step siblings and the stepmom or stepdad. They come and they want to spend time with their dad. So what my spouse did was he created traditions wherein whenever he picks her up and drops her off, they go to Starbucks, and it's their thing. It's uniquely theirs. I don't dare impede with that, because I know that it's sacred between them. And I love seeing them fill each other's love tank before they even show up to my house. All right. My wish for you as a bio parent is that you find a way to connect with your child on transition days so that it would make the blending easier.
Yeah, definitely. Transition days are very hard.
Right. And transitioning back and forth is not something that the bio parents and you don't have to tote your bag. It's your child who has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Give them grace, pour love over them. It's really tough really tough being a stepchild.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Emily, thank you for being a guest.
Thank you so much, Lori. I love talking to you.
I love talking to you too. And I'm so glad that whoever did recommend the Academy for you did so, because I know how much it has helped you, because you've done a lot of work.
Yeah, it's really tough because I came from a very toxic environment, step family. So I know everything that to not do, but I don't have the tools to make it work. And that's what you guys have provided me. And I thank you so much for that. Every day I'm grateful that you guys did the Academy, because without that, my husband and I would be clawing each other's eyes every day, I guess, until we finally gave up. It's so dang hard. It's so dang hard.
It is. And I'm so glad that you were able to get your husband to participate in some of the calls too, because I think he needed to see that.
Right. Did I ever told you that? So the second time we attended a call, he's finally joined me, right? First time it was just me bawling my eyes out. And then the second call, he joined us.
Mm-hmm.
The second call, he confronted me after the meeting. He said to me, "God, is she that bad?" Referring to my stepdaughter. And I said to him, "What are you talking about? What part of she's a good kid says that she is a bad kid?" I said, "Your daughter is amazing and I love her. And she's obviously having a tough time, but that doesn't make her a bad kid."
Right.
Yeah. So what part of that made her look so bad? And I said to him, "You still don't get it. I joined the Academy not because I hate your daughter. I joined the Academy because I am drowning in a sea of confusion and I am doing everything I can to control everything so I don't have to, so I can keep my head above the water."
Right.
I'm joining because of her. I'm joining because of me. My step-parents taught me everything that is terrible to do in a step family.
Mm-hmm.
To how to ruin your step-parent relationship. That's how they taught me. That's what they left me in this world. I have to make a mark in this world on my own. So I am writing my own book, and I need the tools to write this book wherein I want to make a beautiful blended family, exactly the opposite of what I had.
Right.
So after he heard that, he finally, just shut up.
Yeah. Just shut up and let me handle this. I'm trying to make things better. Well, and surely he saw some of the changes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, before I joined the Nacho Kids Academy, I would be really harsh on my stepdaughter. There were times when I called her on her lies. I would tell her, "Oh, don't be ridiculous," on her face. And I also did, when she wasn't cleaning her room, I told her, I said, "Do you want to be treated like an adult? Act like an adult." Because that's how my mom raised me.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. And that didn't work. He said, so when we were alone, he said, "Why do you have to be so antagonizing?" "Well, because she lied. Well, because she's not doing her chores, blah, blah, blah." But, yes, she wasn't doing that, but it wasn't my job. It was his job.
Right.
And, oh God, thank God for the Academy. So because of that, she now calls me her bonus mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so honored because she thinks I'm a bonus. And I love her so much. But it's just different. I love my daughter so much more, I guess. Or just different. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I see myself laying my life for these two girls. But if I have to make a choice, I would save my daughter first. And hopefully we never ever have to get there.
Yeah. But at least you're honest about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, and come back sometime and let us know how things are going.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, Lori.
Bye-bye. So there was a post in our Facebook group from a lady that said, "So after 13 years, approximately 6 years of Nacho, we finally tied the knot. The stepkids weren't in love with the idea, but they were cool and sweet. We took things ultra slow, but it's amazing. I'm a wife, y'all. Thank you, Lori and David, for your guidance. Nacho doesn't make life perfect, but it does make it enjoyable for the most part. Cheers.
Yep. I don't think you'll find anything to make life perfect. If you do, let me know.
Oh, Mother's Day is coming up.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that.
Let's not. I'm kidding. So I have a blog about the things for stepmoms not to do on Mother's Day.
Don't get out of bed.
Yeah. And the Sunday after Mother's Day is Stepmother's Day.
Yep.
So if you are a stepmom and you want your significant other to recognize you as a stepmom, tell them now. And tell them what you want.
Or better yet, get what you want and then tell them to give it to you.
Well, not everybody has joint finances, David, so that doesn't always work.
Or do like Lori does. She just says, thank you for that thing you got me.
Yes. But again, we have joint finances, so it's a little different. If you got separate finances, I can see me saying, David, you owe me $50.
Oh,
Be like, I got me a stepmother's day present.
You already owe me for that photography.
What photography?
Taking Jackson's prom pictures.
Oh my gosh. Lord help.
All right, folks, that is the show for today. Thanks for listening. And join us next week when you're liable to learn something else. Remember, for Lori and myself, life is good.
When you nacho.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nacho Kids Podcast. Find us online at nachokids.com. Until next time, remember, life is good when you nacho.